Hello, and thank you for joining us today for the Graduate Virtual Fair for the PhD program in American Studies here at Penn State Harrisburg. My name is Mitchell Patterson, and I serve as Associate Director for Graduate Admissions. With me today, we have Dr. John Haddad, who is the professor in charge of the program, and along with Dr. Haddad is Samanti Mitra, who is a PhD graduate student in the program as well. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Perfect, perfect. Well, before we get underway, Dr. Haddad, can you just share with the audience a little bit about your background and what you do here in American Studies, how long you've been here at the campus?
Sure. Well, I've been here quite a while, Mitchell. This is my 15th year. I started back in 2003, and my research interests lie in the area of America's historical relationship with China. So the merchants and the missionaries and the diplomats and the authors and the business people who voyaged to China back in the 19th and 20th centuries. My teaching interests often have nothing to do with that. I teach courses in Asian American studies, American popular culture, American literature, and just straight U.S. history.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Haddad. And Samanti, again, why the American Studies program? What sort of served as an attraction for you to come to Penn State Harrisburg?
Well, there is an interesting story behind it, actually. So when I was here, I came to the United States in 2011, but I was in Syracuse, New York. So my husband changed job and he came down here. So I was looking for a university, a PhD program, and I came and saw Dr. Bronner. But before I came to see Dr. Bronner, I thought, let's look at the different programs, and I found American Studies. The first thing that clicked to my mind is probably American Studies is American literature, because I'm from an English literature background, so that kind of attracted me. But then I came and talked to Dr. Bronner, and it was a little bit different, but related. So it was very, very interesting. But initially, my thought was, oh, American Studies is American literature, but it's more like an umbrella program, right? You can do anything.
That's a good description. Very interdisciplinary. Yeah. It is an umbrella program. I like that.
So it is very interesting.
So were you working on a master's at Syracuse at the time or completing your master's degree?
No, I did my master's in India.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
After that.
Okay. Well, thank you both for sharing us. Before we get to the roundtable discussion that we will take questions from the audience, we're going to have Dr. Haddad do a PowerPoint presentation about the American Studies program here, the doctorate degree in American Studies program at Penn State Harrisburg. So, Dr. Haddad, without further ado.
Okay. Well, so when I was designing the PowerPoint, I was thinking, how should I organize it? And I decided to base it on the sorts of questions that that students who are thinking of applying to Penn State Harrisburg's PhD in American Studies often ask me in the office or over the phone. So these are the questions that people want to know about the PhD program before they decide to take the plunge.
Yes.
Okay. So the first question would be, what if I don't have a degree in American Studies? Should you apply? Well, I think Samanti's actually already answered that because her background is literary. But the truth is that most of our applicants do not have a degree in American Studies. They come from a variety of other degrees, and you can see them listed here. But we have lots of folks coming from history and education and English, like Samanti, art history, sociology, any number of degrees. So very few people have the specific training in American Studies. And we view that as a strength, not a weakness, that the students come from so many different backgrounds, because it adds to the intellectual diversity of our program. You will find that the seminar that we have, they are an exciting experience because every student brings something different to the table. So it makes for quite an interesting mix. Also, even if you have no American Studies background whatsoever, the first class that you take will be, we call it the Gateway Seminar, and it gets everybody up to speed about what this field is about, what its history is, and what its methods and theories are. All right, well, what are the PhD program's areas of strength? Well, no program can do everything,
Right.
but we try hard to be really good at what we do. And I would say that our program has 3 areas of strength, and they would be straight U.S. cultural history, folklore and ethnography, and public heritage and museum studies, in no particular order. We're good at all 3.
Mm-hmm.
So let's U.S. cultural history. Well, we offer seminars on a variety of subjects. One of our most popular is the century sequence. We have courses on the 18th century, the 19th century, the 20th century, and even the 21st century. It's not a course about 18 years. It's often, it projects forward, somewhat futuristic. We also have classes on American literature, pop culture, gender studies, and race and ethnicity. All this falls under cultural history. In folklore and ethnography, that's really become a strength of this program. And I know, Sumanti, a lot of your research was in the area of folklore and ethnography. But we have 2 faculty members who are dedicated to teaching this area. And so you would find classes in folklore, in digital culture, material culture, and ethnography. And we have a lot of good dissertations that come out of folklore and ethnography as well. And last, real area of strength, public heritage and museum studies. There's a lot of good research here as well. Students take courses in public heritage, museum studies, art history, archiving, historic preservation. Some of these classes are somewhat practical. They teach you real world skills so that you can go out into the marketplace and find a good job in public heritage. In this area, if you study public heritage, we would always encourage you to do an internship to get that practical experience. And so our students do internships in battlefields and museums, government offices, archives, historic homes. So there's lots of good opportunities, in part because the area is so rich. There's a wonderful cultural legacy and heritage in central Pennsylvania. This is the question I probably get asked the most. What would my progression through the program look like? All right. So it's 3 phases, and each phase kind of culminates with a challenge, you might say. It's almost like a medieval romance, Mitchell, where you first cross the bridge of fire, and then you have to find the Holy Grail. Well, here it's not quite so romantic. It's first you have a qualifying phase, and that's a lot of coursework. And so you're taking classes, some required and some electives, and you take a qualifying exam on the required classes. And so usually the students in a cohort will take that exam together after their first year. And it's a one-size-fits-all. Everyone takes the same exam there. And again, it tests you on the required classes. Once you pass that, you move into the comprehensive phase. This is more tailored towards you, the individual. Everybody has 3 fields that they become experts in. Sumanti, what were your fields? Everyone does American Studies, and then there's 2 other fields.
That's the major, and then my minor were immigration, and immigration and religion, and also folklore.
Immigration and religion and folklore. Yeah, and you probably recall that we asked you to read a whole lot of books in this phase.
Yes,
so
almost 100.
About 100 books. That's about standard. So for each of everybody has 3 areas. They pick them. And you have a reading list of 30 to 40 books in each field that you're responsible for. These are the big books in the field. You then take a test that is unique. So unlike the qualifying exam, this is a unique test tailored just, Sumanti, you were the only person on earth to take that test a couple years ago. It's a good phase because this is where you become well-read. This is where you read important books. All right, so then you take the comprehensive exam, and assuming you pass that challenge, you move on to, drum roll please. Very good, thank you. Good sound effects, the dissertation. And this is where you're writing a book. You know, you've read other people's scholarship, you've taken classes on methods. This is your chance to produce your own unit of knowledge. That will be a part of your legacy forever. So you write a dissertation, it really is a book, and you have lots of help. You have a dissertation committee guiding you every step of the way. Once you pass that, there's a dissertation defense. You are no longer a student, you are a doctor, and that's a wonderful, wonderful moment. Funding opportunities, yes. We have lots of opportunities for funding. We give out something called a graduate assistantship, or GA, and these are to new students on a competitive basis. Samanti came in with some funding. These positions usually cover 1 or 2 years. I wish they went longer, but 1 or 2 years is not bad because it gets you through the coursework. Now you might say, well, my gosh, a PhD takes longer than 1 or 2 years. How am I gonna fund the rest of my education? Usually students teach classes for us in order to fund the rest of their education. So they get a lot of teaching experience, and they get the money they need to pay the bills and pay for the rest of their PhD. If you have one of the GA positions, you get free tuition and a stipend, which covers your living expenses pretty nicely. In exchange, you owe 20 hours of work to the School of Humanities, which is where American Studies is. And we try to make this 20 hours useful for you and for us, of course, but useful for you. So you're not doing photocopying or making coffee for anyone. We have you being a teaching assistant for a class, teach your own class. You might work, tutor undergraduate students at the Learning Center, help them with their papers. You might serve as a research assistant for a faculty member, or you might work in one of the 2 centers that we have. We have a Center for Pennsylvania Culture and Folklore, and we have a Center for Holocaust Studies. GRE scores, how important are they? Every applicant wants to know that. And my answer is simply that the GRE scores are one of several factors that admissions weighs. You're going to write a goals statement. You have reference letters, transcripts, you have a writing sample, and the GRE is one of 5 things that we consider. Okay, so don't stress too much over it. However, if you seek a funding package, the GRE does rise in importance. It's important to get pretty good scores there. Students often ask, do I have to go full-time? Can I go part-time? And the answer is that you can go either way. Full-time would be 3 courses a semester. Part-time, 1 or 2 courses. It just takes a little longer if you go part-time. Now, Penn State does have a residency requirement for doctoral students. That's university-wide. That's not our program. But you have to, at some point, put together 2 consecutive semesters of full-time study. If you're at all worried about that, don't worry. Talk to me. We always get everyone through it. So don't stress that one. I already covered this a little bit, but yeah, doctoral students do get experience teaching classes. You might be a TA, as I mentioned, but mainly the doctoral students help us with our general education classes. So if you want to teach, you can do that, and we offer courses on pop culture and women's history and the men's experience and folklore and art and architecture. And we also have our doctoral students teach English composition. Samanti, I believe, did that along with several other courses. Dissertation. Samanti described American Studies as an umbrella field, and I think that concept's going to come across pretty clearly when you look at the sorts of topics that our students are undertaking in their research projects. I'm not going to read all these. There's too many there, but you can see there's projects in pop culture and sports and literature and folklore and festivals and music and education and race and ethnicity. So there's just a lot of interesting things that students are doing. We don't tell you what to do for your topic. Students come up with their own research topics and receive guidance from the faculty. Yeah, what's waiting for you at the other end? What sorts of jobs? Well, Since the program's beginnings, graduate students have moved into several different career pathways. We've had several achieve success finding tenure track teaching positions. Others have non-tenure track teaching positions, and some moved into administration, high school, for example, museum work, and several of our graduates have published. They turned their dissertations into books. They found publishers, and you can see some of those in the pictures on this slide. Now, I've covered a lot, but everybody has more questions, and always feel free to contact me by email. And we can set up a phone call, or if you live in the area, certainly come in to talk.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Haddad, for that very, very comprehensive, I don't want to call it a dissertation, but a comprehensive body of knowledge about the PhD program in American Studies. Now we're in the heart of the order, if you will, at really taking some questions from you, the audience, that you can send them at the link of information that was sent to you. I think it was rick1@psu.edu. So, but there's also another link that you can do when you do the registration. But we got some stuff that's going on here by way of looking at some questions that were actually sent to us early on during the day. And we can go just delve right into them. So let's move on there. I want to, because Dr. Haddad, he sort of gave us the big breadth of the program, but really transition to you, Samanti. What are your plans to do with, once you're done with your doctorate degree in American Studies? What's the long-term goal for you?
Okay, so I just defended my dissertation.
Congratulations.
In September. Thank
Congratulations.
you. And so I'm done with the dissertation. I will graduate this semester, and I'm in the job market. I'm looking for tenure track positions. So I'm sending out applications, but at the same time, I'm also teaching here at Penn State. So it's keeping me going, but I'm primarily getting into a tenure track position is what my long-term goal is, besides publication and research. So
okay, can you share with the audience some of the courses in which you're currently teaching or have taught? Were you able to design a particular course that you felt would be applicable to the American Studies program, or was it something that was given to you to follow?
Absolutely. So I have taught English rhetoric and writing courses. I have also taught Asian American Studies courses. I will be teaching Women and American Experience. So I also teach race and ethnicity. So all these courses give the teacher an opportunity to frame their coursework, the assignments, the syllabus, the books on their own. So there's a lot of creativity and their own, they can bring their own thing or their own research or their own interest to structure the syllabus as well as the assignment. Few things work, few things don't work, but then that's the beauty of it, right? So things that didn't work, you definitely take it as a learning process, right? You learn from the experience and you do something different the next semester. So these were some of the very helpful things.
Mitchell, I might add that we have a class, a grad seminar that the doctoral students can take called Effective College Teaching.
Wow.
And it's the nuts and bolts about how to teach at Penn State or really any university. And so Samanti took that several years ago. And but we don't tell you what to put in your class. We tell you how to shape the class and what good pedagogy is. But Samanti is the one who designed each and every class that she taught. So that was really valuable experience.
Even though the English classes are very structured, but still there are ways where you can create your own thing within the syllabus with the assignments. So there is a lot of creativity that the teacher can put in.
Okay. Well, another question that we have here that I would think would be apropos to ask in terms of a community, a graduate community, because oftentimes, when you're again, a doctorate degree is not for the faint at heart. Right. Folks aren't just lining up to do these programs. So, what type of support that you get from one student peer support or graduate community support that list itself within the faculty itself, faculty at large.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, we believe in sink or swim, and no, we provide support.
Yeah.
The support is not just from the faculty, from the administration, also from the cohort that we had. And as Dr. Haddad mentioned, that students are picked up or they come from different background, which is a strength, which actually is a strength because everyone has different interests. So there is no conflict of interest. So whenever they come across, for example, now that I'm applying to jobs, I have other friends, my cohort, they are also applying for different jobs. So whenever we come across something that is applicable to my friend, I'll just forward it. So there's no conflict of interest. So that's why there is no competition. It's more people are coming together. It's more like a team.
Wow.
I am helping you, you are helping me. And it's wonderful. It's never, I think it is the biggest strength that we have in our program here. And yeah, I'm very happy.
Right. You know, I just want to echo, Samanthi said something so important there. And that is that, this program, if it admits you, it is dedicated to seeing you through, and everybody is on the same team. There's no weeding out. There's no trying to figure out, who's strong and who's weak. If you're admitted to the program, we want to get you to where you want to go.
And it happens every single time.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, because of the fact that the name Penn State, particularly Penn State Harrisburg, and the draw for the PhD program, we get a pretty wide swath coming from just about anywhere. International students, national students coming from various parts of the United States. What do you think is a transition that a student has to make in coming to South Central Pennsylvania by way of a family, finding work if it's a spouse that's in tow? What are some of the challenges that we have?
I'll lead off, but Samanthi, since she's lived it, she knows it better than I do. But some students are local, but many students come from other states, sometimes from the other side of the country, and we have international students as well. And so I think that Penn State Harrisburg has a large international student community, and so it's become over the years quite a welcoming place for a student who's not from Pennsylvania to come and take classes and enjoy living. And we have quite a few students who come with spouses and families as well, so they relocate. But what do you think, Samanthi? Do you have you enjoyed living in this area?
I did enjoy living in the area, but I would think the transition will be different for someone who is from the United States, and someone who is coming from outside, an international student, because someone who is coming from California, probably weather will be the first thing they need to adjust, right? But someone who is coming from a different country like myself, it's the entire thing that is new. The educational system, the pattern, the semester system, the assignments, the way the assignments are graded, the books, the classes, the time of the classes, because in India, I never had a 6 to 9 class. So that was a new thing for me. So the whole thing was a different experience.
It's not just the region, it's the academic culture itself, right?
Yes. So for international students, I think the change is more drastic. It's very, very different from local or students who are within the United States. So it's very different. But I would mention that Penn State is more like a family. They welcome every student from every part of the country as well as every part of the world. So it's just, I think, the first week you come here, there are orientations, people welcome them, and then there are Anna Marshall works with the international students. She has many a time she would have parties at her home just to make them feel more comfortable, especially the international students, to make them feel at home. So
I think she has a lot coming for Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
So there's an entire office dedicated for international students.
It might be scary, but it is not so scary.
Good. Sounds like it's warm and inviting.
It is very warm and inviting.
Well, thank you, Anna, for doing such a wonderful job.
Yeah, she does.
We both all of us have talked about in terms of teaching experience. And I know one of the popular things that students are looking for, at least the way in which we administer learning, is online teaching. Mm-hmm. So can we talk a little bit about online teaching? Will students have having access to do web teaching or online teaching? And if so, how does that work itself out?
Right. So our goal is to prepare every student for the real world, for the job market. Mm-hmm. And the majority of our doctoral students seek a teaching position of one kind or another. Not everybody, but certainly the majority. Mm-hmm. So we hope to prepare everybody for as many different kinds of teaching situations as possible. And we do that not just with a course on college teaching, but by giving that experience teaching real classes filled with real undergraduate Penn State students. Mm-hmm. And that's why if you come here, you will teach American Studies courses, but you may also teach a history course or a literature course. You may teach English composition, or you may teach ESL. I know Samanti has also taught ESL. And we also try to give everybody experience teaching online. And so that allows you to go onto the job market really with lots of tools in your tool chest. Mm-hmm. Can you teach this? Yes, I can teach that. Okay. Can you teach online? Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
So we have some questions that have been submitted online. Hi, Dr. H. Kelly Lito here. I found our discussion about the introductory essay portion of the application to be really helpful. Perhaps share your views of that requirement.
That's a great question. So as I said in the overview slides, mm-hmm. that every student or every applicant writes a goals statement, and this is your personal narrative. This is really where we get to know you. We can't get to know you through your transcripts. We can't get to know you through your GRE scores, right. But we get to know you through this goals statement. So I think the best way to approach that is to tell us about you and your background and why you want to join the American Studies program at Penn State Harrisburg. What do you want to get out of it? What kind of career are you seeking? And what are your intellectual interests? I also think it's good to look at our webpage and look at the faculty. What do they research? What do they teach? Look at the courses that are offered, and sort of see if it's a good fit for you. And if it is a good fit, you might include a paragraph talking about not just why you want a PhD in American Studies, but why you want to join this particular program. Right. Perhaps what the program does well is something that you're very interested in pursuing. So that's an excellent question.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly. I think there's more.
So we have a question about, would I be able to study Magna anime or transnational literature?
Yeah.
Wow.
Samanti does a lot of stuff with transnational American Studies.
Peter did his dissertation on comics, right? So
yeah.
There is a
so we have a dissertation that finished. It was defended about a month ago, and it was about Disney comics. I think Donald Duck. And but not just in the domestic United States. It was about how Donald Duck was exported and received overseas in Europe. I think he looked specifically at Germany. So it was a transnational topic about cartoons and comics that looked at how American culture was received and commodified overseas in Europe. So yeah, you could study that.
Would I be able to buy health insurance through the university?
Monty, you want to respond to that?
Yes. So when I started my program, I had graduate assistantship. So that covered 80% of my medical insurance. And then the rest I had to buy from the university. But after my assistantship was over, I had the option to buy it from the university or because I had my husband, so he covered me. So there is an option always. But yes, you can buy it from the university. So definitely, yes.
Fantastic. And we have another question. You guys are really participating. We love it.
Yeah.
Love the audience participation.
Hello, Jared Frederick here. Can you describe some of the topics of past dissertations? I'm interested to see where my research would fit within the broader realm of doctoral students here.
Okay, well, yeah, you can look at that slide that I had in the overview, and that can tell you, you know, some of the more recent ones. You know, I wish I could know what his, I can't remember what his topic is. I did speak to him in the office, Jared, but you know, it's hard to imagine a topic that we would say no to. You know, as long as it's something that has to do with American culture, past or present. It could be movies, it could be festivals, it could be literature, it could be comics. It could be just ordinary life. It could be the physical objects, the material culture. We really do it all. And again, if you look on our webpage, and I recommend again that every prospective applicant look at the webpage, you'll see that there's an incredible diversity of courses there. And you can use the courses as a place to test out an idea. Sumanti, I don't know if you did this, but a lot of students, they come into the program not knowing what they want to do their dissertation on. They take a course on, let's say, 20th century, and maybe they write a paper on the Twilight Zone, or you know, it could be anything, or Superman comics, or the women's movement. We don't know, but and then they realize during that paper that, hey, this could be more than a 20-page thing. This has legs. And then maybe they take another course and they say, hey, I'd like to continue this in this vein in this other course. Next thing you know, they have 2 or 3 seminar papers that you know, are going to become the basis for a dissertation. And again, it's hard for me to think of a topic that would be excluded, that we couldn't help you with. I mean, maybe at some point we'll say no to a topic, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, Sumanti is doing an affirmation of that. It feels as though you've had that experience.
Yes, and the topics are so varied. I remember Spiro did something on death penalty, right? Andrea, another friend of mine, she is doing on gentrification. So the topic,
gentrification of neighborhoods.
So topics can be anything. It has, as I said, that because this program is more like an umbrella field, so you can do anything that you want to.
And we're getting into sort of the, you know, arcane parts of the program, but I will say that, you know, every dissertation writer has a doctoral committee. And it has typically 4 members on it. Some of them will be American Studies. The chair of the committee will be American Studies. But every committee has an external member, somebody from outside of our program. And we try to find someone who has some expertise in your area.
Okay. All right. There's another question from our audience.
Can you describe both exams? How difficult are they?
Right. Okay. So I mentioned in the overview that there are 2 exams, the qualifying exam and the comprehensive exam. And the qualifying exam is that is based off 4 courses that you take, 4 required courses. The Gateway Seminar, the Research Methods class, and then a couple of topics classes. So you take those 4 courses, and then there's a 3-hour exam taken on a computer. That's closed book. So you got to study your notes from those classes, and then you go in. And in a 3-hour exam, you write 3 essays, and then you submit it, and a committee reads it. And it almost always goes well. You know, we have that there. Not so, again, it's not to weed people out. It's there really as a check post. You know, did you get what you needed to get from those required classes? Check. Okay, you move on. The comprehensive exam is going to be an experience unlike any other in your life. It almost harkens back to ancient China. But you read those three lists that Sumanti and I were talking about earlier. So a total of somewhere around 100 books. And then you're going to take a unique test that your committee writes for you. This is not a 3-hour test. This is a 4-day test.
96 hours.
96 hours to be exact. It's
Wow.
open book. I'm not
Wow.
going to proctor that thing, you know.
You're not?
No.
Okay.
You can take it in the comfort of your own home.
Okay.
Tell your friends and family to mostly leave you alone or do the cooking and cleaning for you.
Right.
Because for those 4 days, you're going to be writing 6 essays, each one about 1,000 words. There will be 2 essay questions for each of your fields. Remember, you have 3 fields, American Studies, and then 2 fields of your own choosing.
Mhm.
Each field will have 2 essay questions. So over the course of 4 days, you write 6 essays, somewhere around 6,000 words. You submit that to your chair. So if I'm your chair, I send the test to you by email. 96 hours later, you send it back to me by email. I send it to the committee. And then we have a defense date. Yes, there's a 2-hour defense where the committee interrogates you. No, it's really not that bad.
No.
It's more of an intellectual conversation.
Mhm.
Students often get stressed about it, but in fact, it's kind of exhilarating. I mean, you've just read all these books. You want to let it out.
Right.
And so you're having an intellectual conversation with 4 people you've taken classes from and whom you deeply respect. And you talk about those books and you talk about the essays you just wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And
you also defend the proposal.
and yes, in that same meeting, you usually defend your dissertation proposal. So when that 2-hour defense is over, you exit not only having passed comprehensives, you also are ABD because you have a dissertation proposal. It is truly a moment worth celebrating.
Wow.
It is. It is.
Okay.
I used to say that this is like a job promotion. We
Yeah.
enter the PhD program as a PhD student.
Mhm.
After the first qualifying exam, which is candidacy, we are promoted to PhD candidates.
Yes.
And after the comprehensive, we become ABDs. So it's
Wow.
like a promotion going step by step.
That's really well said. You
Right.
have new status. Once you pass each of those challenges, you have
You get a new
Heightened
title,
status.
Those benchmarks.
you hit the benchmark.
Yes.
Broke up benchmarks.
Yep.
I think we have another question from our viewing audience. Thank you.
You mentioned that cohorts are small. About how many in a seminar? Also, when will the fall 2019 course offerings be published?
All right, those are great questions. Okay, so cohorts. Cohorts for the PhD tend to be somewhere around 6 or 7 to 14 students. So again, most are going to be between 8 and 14 students. And that's about the right size. Seminars, they range from 5 or 6 students to 15 or 20. Sometimes the required classes, especially if we just admitted a large cohort, a required class like the Gateway Seminar might have 15 or 20 students. But I'd say the average is probably 10, 11, 12, which is really nice because everybody gets a chance to make multiple contributions over the course of the evening. Was there another part to that question? Did I cover it?
The fall 2019
Yes.
course offerings.
Right. So the spring is already available online. Fall will be available online. Fall 2019 will be available online in March. However, if you're really curious about a course, you can always send me an email. I have some inside information.
As you should. No surprise there, Dr. Haddad. All right. All right. We are just about ready to wrap up the show, if you will, and learning so much about the PhD. So first of all, I want to thank you both, Dr. John Haddad, as the professor in charge of the program, and clearly Sumanti Mitra, who serves as an excellent ambassador for the program as well. I wish you all the best in furthering and completing the dissertation portion of your studies here. Again, it has been a great opportunity. Is there room for one more? Okay, it seems like there's one more question that we will take from our viewing audience. You guys have been fantastic today, in fact, and we greatly appreciate your participation. So let's hear the question.
How could I formally incorporate my existing public heritage expertise into program requirements?
Okay. So this is obviously coming from somebody who may even have course experience and may have work experience as well. All right, that's a great question. So first of all, if you come with courses from a different grad program, and if they were not used towards a degree, they can often transfer in. So that's something where, let's say you have 2 or 3 courses, you might be able to transfer in as many as, say, 9 credits from another program. Again, as long as those courses were not contributing to another degree that you received. Mm-hmm. Now, let's say you have expertise, like you've been working in the field of public history and public heritage. We really welcome you because you're bringing a lot of ideas and theories and skills that can help the other students. So we would suggest that you we have a great faculty member, Dr. Ann Verplank, who kind of heads our public heritage division of our program. Mm-hmm. So I would put you in touch with her. I would suggest taking the public heritage classes and the other related classes such as art history and museum studies. But also, it's quite possible that once you have taken finished your coursework, that you might be able to teach classes on public history, public heritage. You know, we always want students to teach their expertise. So Samanti had experience with Asian American studies and women's history, and so we're having her teach in those areas. So if you come with experience in, say, museum work, you know, we have a wide variety of classes that we offer to undergraduates. Possibly, you know, we'll have to see, but possibly you might be able to offer a course.
Excellent. Okay.
All right. Closing thoughts. I just want to say that we have a great program. I think family is a word that Samanti used, and I want to repeat that here. We will take good care of you if you join us. We're going to teach you a lot. It's not going to be easy. There are many challenges, but I think in the end, the rewards are great. I also want to encourage anybody who's thinking of applying to get in touch with me, because you may have nitty-gritty questions that we didn't get to cover here today about the application process or about the acceptance of transferred courses, really small stuff like that. Get in touch with me by email, and I'd love to talk with you further by phone or by office visit.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, our viewing audience out there. And again, thank you, Dr. Haddad and Samanti Mitra, for participating in the virtual fair for the PhD program in American Studies here at Penn State Harrisburg. Take care and have a great day.